Another day in the NBA here, and this one looks like even more of a mess than usual with some Q tags going on. A lot of late guys getting ruled out right before the show, but we're going to do the work as we always do here on the Splash Play channel. We're going to dig in and compare my projections to one of the industry leaders out there, our friends over at Stokastic. We'll see who the top plays are, who the top value plays are. We'll also go game by game for this night and game main slate. We'll also take a quick look at the late games as well for anybody that needs that info. And of course, try to find the ownership, find where the leverage is along that way. We'll also go over to Stokastic, run a sim. If they're updated by that time, I'll do a hand build. And by the end of this video, guys, you'll know all the industry's must plays along with my splash plays for today, January 7th, 2026. Let's get into it here. And again, really going to be a messy slate here. So just real fast up top, you have Detroit at 7 o'clock. So you'll know that one before lock. Cade Cunningham, downgraded to questionable, was probable with a wrist injury. Apparently did not show up till the end of shoot-around and was in street clothes. So the assumption is that he's probably not going to play today. That has massive ramifications for the Pistons today because they are number one facing Chicago as a 10.5-point favorite. So that total will move if Cade gets ruled out. And then also, you'll have a lot of players that will pick up minutes, will pick up a lot of opportunity and usage and assists from not having Cade out there. And also Jalen Duren and also Tobias Harris, for as much as that matters. Number two, you have SGA. Q tag for him. That game is a later one. That game's at 8 p.m. Eastern. So that is in our last block of two games. Utah OKC and Phoenix Memphis both go off at 8 o'clock. So that's something where we're going to need to know that one, because if you get SGA out, Jalen Williams going to look a lot better. Chet Holmgren going to look a lot better. Assuming those guys do play. You would also probably get AJ Mitchell picking up a lot of work there. He already looks decent to me, but will look a lot better if he's getting, starter approximating run with SGA's stats off the court. So there's a lot of stuff that we don't know yet. There was also McCollum getting ruled out before the show, Trae Young getting ruled out before the show, Alvarado getting ruled out. There's a few things that I had to adjust here because Stokastic is not updated since 8 this morning. So we're going to do the best we can, as we always do here, but just want to prepare you guys accordingly, because this slate with this many games and this many guys, teams on a back-to-back, guys that are getting downgraded, it's portending to be more of a mess than usual. And obviously it's always a bit of a mess, but it's going to be even more of a mess than usual. Top projected player, though, for the entire slate would be Luka Doncic right now. LeBron is a Q tag with his, I think he's listed on the injury report as having his sciatica still flaring up. But in reality, he's 40 plus years old, and he is also on a back-to-back. So he might play today because he's LeBron and he's playing well right now. And I think LeBron probably doesn't want to miss games when he is, in fact, having good results. But that said, for Luka Doncic here, if you get LeBron out, he will look a lot better. Doesn't matter for the main slate, though, because he's not in play. And even on FanDuel today, I don't believe they've last 3 games in. So if you are playing the late slate, Luka Doncic looks good. If you are not playing the late slate, then he doesn't matter for you today. LeBron did go off yesterday. That's true. And yes, let's get this money indeed. LeBron went off, again, points and assists, which is what we talked about. But I said the underlying numbers are there for him. He still doesn't pop up projection-wise because he's had enough, bad games this year. But LeBron definitely rounding into form in terms of at least getting that stuff right. Never going to be the rebounder I think he has been historically, because that seems like a business decision, like I've talked about enough times on here, for him to not go after boards as much at his age with the, injuries mounting a little bit more for him. But the points and assists will be there, especially as long as Reeves is out. So definitely we're good to see him do it again. Jalen Johnson, though, for this actual main slate here, no Trae Young again. He's been ruled out as the trade stuff keeps swirling around. Does seem a little bit odd that McCollum got ruled out as well, though that team's on a back-to-back, so maybe that's part of the reason why there. But for Jalen Johnson here with no Trae Young, bit of a rate increase at this point, though. It's more than priced in. Johnson at 10.6. We are now seeing the salary probably get to where it should have been a month and a half ago. So glad to see DK. They've taken a moment break from the prediction markets and from collusion and playoff best ball, and now they can address Jalen Johnson's price tag. But he's pretty expensive still projects well enough for me, though. It's 56.5 fantasy points. Atlanta was one of the teams where I had to massage the minutes myself with Trae Young out because Stokastic hadn't updated, so might be a little bit lower when Stokastic's minutes come in. But Jalen Johnson, we know who he is at this point. Triple-double threat in any spot. And when he's 10% owned, I think that's a good time to go to him. He has had some decent days as chalk lately. He's also had some downer days as chalk lately. But with that amount of ownership, good sim representation here at 17%, about 2x the field. I think Jalen Johnson's still worth getting to on the slate. Even though that price tag is definitely less appealing than it's been. Giannis here, getting none of because he's on the late slate. But if you are playing the late slate, he'll be more of a play. They are playing at Golden State today with Milwaukee as a 6.5-point dog. So again, we don't care about the late slate, but Giannis, he's an option on it, and he is number 3 overall projected today amidst all of the players available across the NBA. Cade Cunningham, So I don't think he plays today. Showing up late to shoot around in your street clothes seems like a key sign there for him not playing. And that was according to one of the Pistons beat reporters that was in attendance at practice. That said, he has a Q tag. So if he does play here, he himself doesn't look like a super stellar play at 14% ownership. Feel like that number is more than fair. My projections, as you guys know, if you watch these streams on a regular basis, I'm always a little bit low on Cade because he just hasn't produced as well as he has in the past. But he's still obviously playing well, has a massive ceiling game to game at 10-8. Personally, I'd probably rather play Jalen Johnson, especially with Cade, being a Q tag, but it's a wrist injury. So if he can play and he plays through it, you're probably not assuming much depreciation in production. And you still do have Jalen Duren out and a soft match versus the Bulls. But Cade, we'll see if he plays or not. If he does play 14% ownership, I'm only getting 4. Tyrese Maxey, was surprised to see him have this high of a projection for me today, given the fact the Sixers getting closer to full health. We still do have, we're getting back Oubre and Watford, it looks like, for them today. Those guys both got upgraded to probable before the show, and they are both in the projection set. So, yeah, I'm not really sure why Maxey's this high for me, but over 50 fantasy points. There are only 5 guys between the main slate and the late slate that I have over 50. So certainly Tyrese Maxey, guy I can get to at 9,900 if we have enough salary to get there. But Maxey, 14% ownership. I'm getting 17. I do think part of me having Maxey high is that I do have him beat a little bit lower today. Might increase the rates again like I did the other day because that worked out pretty well. Embiid is definitely playing the most like old Joel Embiid, even though Sixers did blow that game versus Denver. Like, Embiid wasn't his fault. I mean, was it his fault more than any other reason why the Sixers haven't won a championship or anything, or won games in the last few years? But for how that situation looks for Philly going against Washington today, now a depleted Washington team, you do have the big men there. Sarr's going to go on the back-to-back. You still have Bagley. You actually have a lot of big men. You have Vucevic still. You have Gill. But, Embiid going against those kind of bigs, he can do whatever he wants for the most part. Can get fouls drawn as well. Get to the line. So for Tyrese Maxey, he looks good. But I think Embiid probably a little bit better than I'm giving him ownership-wise. And the field's not really owning Embiid yet either. My guess is because Washington scores high but worse league defense, so Maxey may max his ceiling. There we go, Georgia. Yeah, look, I think it's certainly possible relative to the pace up. I mean, my stats, my projections rather do account for stat differential, so it's probably more of a beneficial matchup for guards than it is for big men. But I do think for Maxey, like, if you're going to get him above the field, you probably want to get him beat above the field because the both guys going to be relatively lightly owned. Jamal Murray getting at 15% of my lineups right now with a 49.6 projection. Stokastic has him at 48.5. For Jamal Murray, you do have Aaron Gordon playing again today, probably minutes limited. Christian Brown playing again today, probably minutes limited. Still Nikola Jokic. Apparently he'll be back towards the end of January, so that's good news for him. For Jamal Murray, though, the big thing is that really, he has all the opportunity in the world to get all the usage that he wants. As we talked about before, though, when you take Jokic off the court, Murray is just generally a worse producer, and he's now priced up because he had one good game in the stint with Jokic out. But he's been good overall with Jokic this year, 61% true shooting on the season, on 28% usage, 31% assist rate. Overall, 1.22 fantasy points per minute. Jamal Murray's playing well. The big question is, like, does he really push his game to another level? Facing Boston as well, a team that's going to throw a lot of defensively minded guards at him. I'm not sure if this is a spot where you really want to go nuts at on Murray, rather. He's 9,700, but 10% ownership, getting to 15. You're not really losing a lot of your portfolio there, but it does feel like there's a ceiling. But certainly, if he were to hit the nut floor going against Boston here, I don't think it'd be a shocker. Like, Boston should be really the worst matchups you'll get for Jamal Murray, in a spot where all the attention will be dedicated to him. Jaylen Brown, guy who's also gone for 50 real life points lately, 9,800. He, Maxey, Jamal Murray, all these guys pretty expensive for how we view them historically. But they still project as over 5x values to me, so they're all kind of in play. Maxey, I'm getting 17. Murray getting 15. Jaylen Brown 7. You can make the case that these guys all around that 50-point projection, all around the same salary. Just treat them like the same player. Get 10 to 15% of all of them and just hope one of them hits the ceiling. It's that kind of slate where really these guys entirely unowned relatively, with all these guys under 15%, Murray and Jaylen Brown under 10. But I really think for Maxey, Murray, and Jaylen Brown, they are all really good producers. They're all now fully appropriately priced for where they are. Maybe still a little bit cheap for what the floor is or what the median outcome is and what the ceiling is. And I think they're the kind of guys that you want to have exposure to because they're the kind of guys that put up 60 today. You needed to have them on the slate. So Maxey, Murray, Brown, really no lean on any of them. Murray will have the most opportunity out of all of them, but Jaylen Brown's had 36% usage on the year. Maxey is safely around 30. These guys are all getting shots at. SGA, if he plays, does not look good to me. The Q tag, I guess, would make him theoretically more playable because of the fact that he will be entirely off people's radar for the day. They are playing Utah, so if SGA were to hit a ceiling, Maxi's just on my brain now. If SGA were to hit a ceiling here, it would be in a spot where OKC has a 130 implied total for themselves. They are also an 18.5-point favorite at home versus Utah. But, SGA in this spot, 5% ownership. I'm getting 3. I really have to kind of ignore the projection at his 10-4 salary to get there. But, I think all these guys really look under-owned. Like, that's the tough part of the slate is that they all look under-owned, which means they're all probably appropriately owned. For Maxey, for Murray, for Jaylen Brown, for Jalen Johnson. For Cade, he seems appropriately owned for a guy that's probably not going to play. Denny Avdia, another late slate play. He's been a monster lately. Like we talked about, you take Drew Holiday off, you take Jeremy Grant off, in addition to Scoot still being unavailable. Denny Avdia's going to do whatever he wants. He's a double threat in any game. Portland today, their team total, it doesn't really matter because it's late slate, but 109 implied points versus Houston, not where you'd want him to be, but he's beaten adverse spots before, has had some of his biggest games of the year against OKC in particular. So no issue going to Denny Avdia if you are playing the late slate. But he's a late slate guy, so we don't care that much. Kawhi Leonard, not really getting to today with Harden. Probable now with Ivica Zubac back in. Kawhi is priced for life without both those guys lately, and he's been great when you take one of them off, especially Zubac. The rates really do support Kawhi being a different player when you get some more spacing with Brook Lopez out there as opposed to having Zubac kind of hogging the painted area, hogging the elbow area, all that stuff. But hard to get to Kawhi at a 10-1 salary on this slate. Clippers today. Your total's not that great at the Knicks either, 109.5. With Harden as a probable tag, I just don't see it gets a Kawhi at this price tag. An MPJ, a guy that I've caped for a lot this year on Brooklyn, still gets the benefit of minutes limited. Cam Thomas, $8,700 salary for Michael Porter Jr., a little bit aggressive, but he is putting up just shy of 1.3 fantasy points a minute. So 5% ownership for Michael Porter Jr., another guy here, basically unknown. If he hits a ceiling, he'll be not really played by a lot of the field. So getting with that, 6% right now, not a big stand at all, but you just have to get tastes of all these guys, it feels like, on the slate, because none of them are really in a particularly advantageous spot or price tag relative to the others. We're going to sort by value here, but again, guys, show some love. Slates like this, to be real, guys, are the toughest one on me, where I have to update a lot of shit before the show and know that Stokastic might not have it updated while we're on the air. So please show some love here, no matter what goes on, no matter what the extenuating circumstances might be in a given day. I'm still here Monday to Friday at 2 p.m. doing the work for you guys in the NBA, and this work continues on throughout the playoffs, throughout the NBA Finals as well, throughout the tanking season. In fact, many could say that's where I shine the most, with my data in particular. But join along here. About 60% of you guys that watch these videos are not subscribed, so let's keep pushing that number up. Hit the like button, subscribe down below, and come back Monday to Friday at 2 p.m. You will get value in this video, even if all you're going to do is fade me. I'm confident in that. So join down below, hit the like button, subscribe, and get into the mix here. And of course, Stokastic, great tool. A lot of the guys in the community have been finally checking out the Sims. Join for yourself. Link down below. Get 15% off with the promo code SPLASH. Only deal they have going right now, so do check it out if you want to get better lineups in for yourself. Really, the big thing is here, like, I like making data. I like building lineups. I like that process. For a lot of you guys out there, you probably just want to get good lineups in with 15 minutes left until a slate locks. Stokastic is really the most idiot-proof way to do that, I believe, in the industry, and that's really a big reason why I feel confident when you guys go over there, whether I handhold you or not, you'll get the results you're looking for. So check them out. Link down below. Again, promo code SPLASH over there at Stokastic. Get 15% off weekly, monthly, cheap stuff, expense stuff, all that. Link down below. And half the money you pay to them comes back to me, so it does support the show. And last but not least, if you really want to support the show, $5 to join down below. Get into the live chats here if you want to have any questions. And make sure to answer all the member questions as we go as well, or at least as best I can. But of course, get a Discord as well. If you join the Squirt Squad tiers, you get my data updated throughout the night. And more fun stuff coming, guys. I'm dedicated to using AI in efficient ways this year, and I'm playing with it a lot in the back end, trying to find some cool stuff to either give to members or, probably sell separately. We'll see how it goes. But I'm trying hard. I think there's gonna be a lot of fun stuff coming from me and from this channel this year. But that's what we do here. We're just showing up, we're doing the gambling, we're doing the work, and hopefully get some value out of it by being here. But support the show if you can. All right, Paul Reed. We got no Jalen Duren again. Paul Reed is basically Jalen Duren, but at a cheaper price tag. Minutes not as secure, so in that respect, he's also like Jalen Duren last year, where getting jerked around a lot more for minutes for Isaiah Stewart, for going small, stuff like that. But Paul Reed producing just shy of 1.3 fantasy points minute on the year. I would say that for... No, you're not the only one using AI. I think there's a lot. That's the reason that they're all making billions of dollars. But I still think there are a lot of flaws with AI tools. Like, I've been using Claude lately because my good friend Josh Engelman, the stuff that he's built on the Stokastic show, if you guys really want to get a lead on trying to build stuff like that, He's been using Claude for it. The issue is like he's made it work really well. Like for me, I'm having a ton of issues with it not wanting to scrape stuff, not wanting to, like it can't access certain things. So it's a bit of a pain in the ass, but I think if you do the work, you get, your headspace wrapped around on how to use the stuff as an, additional tool for what you're doing. And I will say for it too, like I've been playing it with it for the rookie preview stuff on the NFL channel. I think it's really cool for making data visualization stuff and like turning sheets into interactive websites. But that's about it. Yeah, I don't know. People like Grok. I would use Claude though if you're trying to build anything. And I'm not trying it in my backend, no, unfortunately. My backend, I have no local hosting in my backend, is what we say to make a tech sodomy joke. Paul Reed, really the big thing here is that if you get Cade Cunningham out, it's going to be even safer. We're going to be in a situation a lot more like a couple months ago when we had Paul Reed going absolutely nuts for a fully depleted Pistons roster where they benched all the stars or the starters. For Paul Reed, think it's worth going back to again today here. I'm at 35.2. Stokastic I'm at a 33 projection, so he looks good no matter what. Fields at 54% on Paul Reed. I'm getting 83. It sucks that he bombed, or he didn't really bomb last time out, but he didn't hit the ceiling you needed for him to be in every lineup play. I hate that. He still might not close in this game either. But if he does get enough going in the first 3 quarters of play, I think he still can give you 30, 35 fantasy points here. So I am team Paul Reed once again. Bub Carrington. So we got McCollum rolled out before the show. Keyshawn George still out. Middleton out in a back-to-back, as is often the case. You also lost Will Riley. So there's a lot of minutes to go around now for the secondary wings for the Wizards. Bub Carrington, I think, is the big winner. He played 31 off the bench yesterday for Washington. I presume he gets the start here. The Wizards are a really stupid team that does dumb shit sometimes. But Bub, I think I basically gave these guys kind of comparable amounts of minutes. Bub, Bilal Coulibaly, Justin Champagnie, probably 2 out of those 3, if not 3 of those 3 will start. But I think Bub is the one that seems to produce the best. Real fast, let's go to NBA WoW. You haven't done it yet today. As I mentioned yesterday, really important part of the process to look at rates, see how guys look based upon different configurations of who's available, who's not. And today we got a lot of more unique ones. And we don't want the Pacers. We want the Wizards. And let's take off McCollum, Keyshawn, Middleton. So I presume basically Kispert's going to take Middleton's minutes. So that sort of comes out in the wash. You can see Bub Carrington, about 500 possessions this year, so not quite the 1,000 we're looking for rates to be fully predictable and stable based on data best practices moving forward. You're getting him at 1.07 fan sports minute. That's the best version of Bub Carrington, a guy who normally sucks. Granted, he has shot a little bit better than average, 61% true shooting. That's not who Bub Carrington is. But for for Bub Carrington here, or Carlton, as his friends, I guess, don't call him. He's a guy that does seem to be the best Wizard overall, gains the most from having no Keyshawn, no McCollum, no Middleton, guys that are your sort of Swiss Army knife guards. So Carrington is the one I think you want the most. That backs out here in the NBA WOWY data. Champagnie's over 1 fantasy point minute with those guys off the court as well. Smaller sample size of 324 possessions, but Champagnie does a little bit of everything. Rebounds more than Bub as well, so I do like Champagnie when I get a chance to play him. Definitely less of an assist guy, though. You can see only 2 assists per 100 for Champagnie compared to 10 assists per 100 for Bub Carrington. Trey Johnson over 1 fantasy point minute. His minutes get jerked around a little bit more as a starter because he's kind of the starter that they're willing to play other guys over. But for Trey Johnson here, I think the minutes should be more secure. I have him playing high 20s. But again, he's played 22, 25 as a starter recently. So there's no guarantee he gets the minutes, but they're shorthanded enough that I presume he will. Malachi Branham, not a great producer, but he'll get some minutes today. Kispert, about a 1 fantasy point minute guy. He'll get some amount of minutes coming off a wrist injury again. His cardio should be okay, so I presume he can get as much work as they want to give him, but no guarantee that he does. And Bilal Coulibaly, I think, will be the big minutes winner, but he's not been an awesome producer. He's only played 88 minutes this year without McCollum, without Keyshawn, without Middleton. But he'll be out there getting more shots up. He's just not a super great player, but he's good enough. And this is why you get Carrington, Champagnie, Coulibaly popping up for me against Stokastic and not updated before the show. So these guys not fully matriculating where they're going to be with McCollum out, with Keyshawn out, with Middleton out. Though Keyshawn and Middleton were already out in Stokastic's data. But basically the Wizards' secondary wings, all an option today. Getting Bub at 38%, Champagnie at 34%, Coulibaly's in half my lineups. These guys are all options to get to today at a decent amount. Bilal was in the winning lineups yesterday. I mean, that doesn't really matter, but he did play a lot of minutes yesterday, so that helps. And you can just look up rosters. But yes, AJ Mitchell is in Oklahoma City. That's why that doesn't have to be a chat, Georgia. Come on, you're getting better. You're tightening it up, and I appreciate that. But let's keep working here. I feel like I'm going to treat you like I do Luca, where it's like let's keep working hard, let's keep listening. You're going to keep making strides. AJ Mitchell, 36% ownership for me right now. Fields at 27. He will look like an infinitely better play if we do get SGA out. But today we still have Caruso out for Oklahoma City. Let me just make sure that's right because I'm pretty sure that's the case. Yeah, we got Caruso out. We got to go into the NBA injury report. Another thing you guys should use at home if you want to be aware of who's playing and who isn't. But we got Caruso out, Usman Jang out, SGA, Q-Tag, Hartenstein out, Jalen Williams out, Sorber and Topic, same thing as always. But for AJ Mitchell here, if you do get SGA out, I think he'll be a much more important play for the field and for me at 4,800. With SGA in, the big thing is that they're playing Utah, absolute blowout kind of environment where AJ Mitchell can put up a lot of production off the bench. With SGA being a Q tag, he's theoretically slightly banged up. You might get a few more Mitchell minutes as a result, or just him getting the ball more in the mid-off court time that they do share. So for AJ Mitchell, for me at 4,800, I think a little bit less compelling projection-wise and minutes-wise than the Wizards guys. But definitely still a guy that, I've had a lot in my data earlier in the year. And now again, with some guys missing, I think AJ Mitchell a good play at 4,800, but will be a lot better if SGA is out. Corey Kispert popping up a little bit for me here because of me updating the minutes before the show for having no McCollum. For Corey Kispert, not sure that he'll play 24 minutes exactly, but he is shooting guard small forward, 3,900, can get hot from three. So Kispert, not really in the lineup set right now because he wasn't expected to play very much, but I think he will play kind of a normal Kispert rotation off the bench now. Alex Sarr getting a production uptick here. It looks like a decent value at 7,200. Get him in 27% of my lineups. Fields at 11. Get another slate here where there really isn't great actual value on the slate. The Wizards guys are about as close as you can get because there's really no 3K guy popping up yet. But for Alex Sarr, 27% for me right now. Fields at 11. He will produce a lot better in the amount of minutes he gets. He just probably won't play over 30 minutes because the Wizards have not seemingly wanted to get him there too often. And he played 30 plus yesterday. So your assumption on a back-to-back is that he plays slightly less than he did in the front end of a back-to-back. Okongwu got downgraded today as well to questionable. If he didn't play, you would get, I guess Porzingis would still be minutes limited. Maybe you get a Mo Gay start, I guess. But Okongwu, if he's in, he looks okay. Should get some more minutes from the Hawks being down a few guys. Trae Young being out also helps Okongwu in his minutes a little bit more. Okongwu played 35 plus yesterday. He might play a little bit less today. But again, just kind of trying to get minutes in before the show. I put him at 35. As a result, Okongwu's in 10% of my lineups. Fields at 3. Really Atlanta, no Trae Young. Still playable here. Feels like there's a little bit of upside in their projection. Dyson Daniels, other part of a concentrated Atlanta rotation. Real fast, I'll just show you Atlanta from yesterday. I think it'll paint the picture a little bit better. Of course, going to popcorn machine here. You can see Dyson Daniels played 39 minutes yesterday. Of course, they really needed his defense yesterday, given the high usage wings that Toronto has. But Dyson Daniels playing 39 yesterday. You assume he'll play 37 or so today. Dyson Daniels at 37.5. I have him at a 38 projection. That gets him in about 23% of my lineups of the Fields at 8 right now. With, again, Trae Young was in Stokastic's data, so that hasn't fully caught up on that side of things. Really hope Stokastic updates by the time we get to the sim part of things. But they've not updated yet either. Still have to go game by game, though, so we got some time. Trey Murphy, a guy that I talked about yesterday on Stokastic's show, is popping up in lineups for me. He ended up being the winning lineup. 7,300, he does have a lot of upside because he plays just shy of 40 minutes in most spots. That said, he got downgraded to questionable here. If he is out, I think you're going to be guaranteed more pool/fears minutes overall. I guess more together of them too, because you do have Alvarado out. You'll probably get some more of the PV Bryce McGovern tier of guys. But Trey Murphy being out would open up a lot of usage because he plays a good amount of minutes. Doesn't take a ton of shots, but takes a steady 21, 22% usage in that time period. So he's an okay play if he's in. As you can see, a decent value for me. With this projection, I have him at 40.4. But I'm getting 23% right now. Fields at 13. If he's out, we'll get 0. Isaiah Stewart, the other part of the Pistons here, would benefit a lot more if you do get Cade Cunningham out. With Cade in, though, right now, Fields at 23%. I'm getting 25. Stewart, certainly a minutes pivot to Paul Reed. He played minutes over Paul Reed last game because I really don't know why. Paul Reed is playing fine out there, but obviously they do different things. Sometimes teams will have more comfort with a guy that plays better defense, which Stewart unequivocally is. And Stewart a better three-point shooter, too. But Isaiah Stewart, I think an okay play right now. He's in a quarter of my lineups. He'll be better, though, if Cade's out. We're going to go game by game, guys. Again, one more ask. Please show some love. Hit that like button and subscribe. It means a lot for me. Just one independent creator doing the best I can to give you guys a leg up in the NBA. And you might be able to tell. It's probably why you're watching this video. Is like, there's less and less NBA DFS content out there. Everybody else just does betting videos now. And I try to cover it as holistically as I can. So I know some people out there that do the prop betting stuff get value out of this video. Obviously, you can see my PRAs on screen. But ultimately, I am the last of a dying breed doing these videos, guys. And if you don't want that breed to entirely die off, please do hit the like button. Please subscribe. Please supporting the show where you can, especially monetarily by joining Stokastic. 15% off, promo code SPLASH, link down below. All the cheap stuff, all the expensive stuff, weekly, monthly packages, all of it 15% off with that promo code SPLASH. And of course, join the Discord here, only $5 to join. Does support the show here when you join the channel. Of course, you get access to the live chat when I am recording these videos. You also get the Discord. As part of that, you also get my Squirt Squad tiers down below, where if you join, you get my data updated out throughout the night, including this very screen that you see here. This one gets updated with everything. You can see my PRA, see the projection, see the minutes, all of that, along with the core stats here, usage, rebounds, assists, true shooting, fantasy production. That's what you get when you join down below, so please do that. All right, Toronto, 116 implied points. Charlotte, 113.5. This game here, one of many. That's the first game on the slate, or at least a few. You've got 4 games starting at 7 o'clock today. It's this one. It's Chicago, Detroit. It's Washington, Philadelphia, and it's Denver, Boston. So for Toronto here with their 116 implied points, I'm low on pretty much everything. Scotty Barnes, fields at 9%. I'm getting 14. He's on your thumbnail today because I had no clue who to put on this morning. But he's always an okay play to me at 8,500. Has the big ceiling, cheaper than guys like Jalen Johnson. And, you know, he's a 1.22 fantasy point per minute guy. Always feels a little bit cheap for Scotty Barnes when he's priced in the 8K range. Brandon Ingram, fields at 13. I'm getting 11. Quickly, fields at 9. I'm getting 7. Barrett, the fields at 20. I am getting 10. I have Barrett a little bit more lowly projected, about 1.7 less than Stokastic. He's really been the... I guess Quickly's been your biggest fantasy production sacrifice around the year with only 1 fantasy point per minute. But relative to the matchup, I do have Barrett being a little bit lower today at 1.03 compared to Quickly at 1.06. Quickly also gets a slight bit of a boost in rates with Pirtle off compared to RJ Barrett. So that's part of the reason why. But really, Toronto to me, a team where if you get Barnes, no issue with it. You get Ingram, Quickly, Barrett, fine. You got Murray Boyles. He had the big ceiling the other day. Don't think that's an every game kind of situation. But against Charlotte, if he's going to do it again, he might be able to do it again here. These guys all look okay, but if we have a lot of Q tags hanging over the slate and you lose a lot of flexibility on a team that's just kind of appropriately priced, the guys look okay. Not really what you want to do in NBA DFS. So I think for Toronto, an okay team here, but like if we have OKC hanging over our heads still, I think you're going to want to hold off and not go crazy on playing Toronto guys, even if you love them. Charlotte, 113.5 implied points on their side. LaMelo not coming up, but that minutes limit getting even worse here. Only 26 minutes projected by Stokastic today. Miles Bridges, nothing really there for me. It's sad because, I mean, he's an awful guy, as we've talked about many times here. But last year, he used to get Bridges so much, and he would hit at low ownership when he'd pop up in my data with enough frequency that I hold him in some esteem, despite all of his personal flaws. And this year, I just don't get him at all, even when you get guys out. Like Miller and Knipple are doing so much. Bridges is kind of a non-entity to me. Brandon Miller, I'm at 15, Fields 12. If there's better value opening up, I think Miller would be a guy I'd get less of. He's definitely due to shoot better, though, and he is shooting a lot. 29% usage, but only 53% true shooting. Brandon Miller should be like a knockdown, lights out kind of shooter, and he hasn't been this year. What that usually means is like he's due to get hot and put up some big totals. He started to do that recently. So Brandon Miller, 15%, I'm okay with it. Con Knipple, the field's at 6. I'm getting 5. No real stand here. Diabate, you still have no Kalkbrenner, no Plumlee. So Diabate in play a little bit. Fields at 5%. I'm getting 5%. Really nothing to note. Chicago, still no Giddey here, but Kobe White, questionable. So if he doesn't play, things will look a little bit different. If he does play, though, he'll probably be minutes limited again. But Nikola Vucevic, no Zach Collins still, no Jalen Smith. Means that Vucevic will probably be locked into low 30s minutes no matter what. So that makes him a viable enough play at 7,800. Hard to love that price tag. The field's at 17%. I'm getting 18, and my projection's pretty much dead even with Stokastic around 42. Matas Buzelis in the rates to me looks like the biggest winner from having Giddey off the court, and he's produced well recently, to coincide with that. But the field's at 20% Buzelis. I'm only getting 13. I've had Buzelis projected well. I have him 1.4 higher than Stokastic, but not the direction I'm going to quite as much today with him at now a 6K salary. Kobe White, if he's in, he looks like an okay play. I'm at 11%, fields at 8. He's minutes limited, probably going to play off the bench again. If he's out, though, Vucevic, Buzelis, Trey Jones, Herter, Dosunmu, all these guys will come into play a little bit more. They're all kind of priced, I think, well enough where if White's out, it won't be a total paradigm shift for Chicago, but these guys will be better plays if you get Kobe White out. Detroit on their side, if Cade's in, you're going to get Paul Reed, you're going to get Isaiah Stewart, you're going to get nothing else. If Cade is out, I think you get a Dennis Jenkins start. You probably get Sasser playing off the bench. He's been a monster producer, shooting unsustainably well at 81% true shooting, but he's put up 1.35 fantasy points per minute. But really, if you get Cade out, everybody's going to be in play more. We didn't look at the Detroit on the NBA Wowie, so real fast. If you get Cade off the court, along with Jalen Duren, and let's take Tobias off too for fun. So you take all these guys off for Detroit. Dennis Jenkins produces 1 fantasy point per minute. Karis LeVert goes back to old Karis LeVert, produces 1.1. He's probable today. Paul Reed gets even higher in fantasy points per minute, produces 1.4. Isaiah Stewart producing 1. And again, the sample size, not 1,000 possessions, so it's a little bit lower than we want it to be. But Jaden Ivey, 1 fantasy point per minute. Marcus Sasser, 1.3 if he gets out there. So really for the Pistons, and same thing we talked about, didn't work out splendidly with Cleveland yesterday, to be totally real about it, but it did still fit what we talked about where, Jarrett Allen had a big day, Mobley and Garland had bigger days than they normally have. And then you also had guys like Merrill having decent days. When you take a high usage player off the court who does a little bit of everything, who has the ball in their hands, between his usage rate and assist rate, Cade Cunningham's got the ball 75% of the time he's on the court. Everybody's going to look better. Everybody's going to have more opportunity to hit ceiling games. Everybody's going to have more opportunity to hit a better floor. So that's the big thing to keep in mind here. This game is one of the first ones on the slate. If Cade is out, you're going to want a lot of Detroit, and it will materially change everything that we talk about here at 2:30 on the East Coast. Washington, as I mentioned, I updated the minutes as best I could before the show because Stokastic had not yet caught up on McCollum being out. But Keyshawn George, McCollum, Will Riley also out. That offers up another 20 minutes. It's not right now reflected in Stokastic's data. That means we're going to get the Washington Wings more. Koulibaly, Champagnie, Carrington, all playable values now. Whoever starts, you're going to want the most. The bench guys will still probably play, though, low 20s to mid 20s minutes. Alex Sarr is going to be your best producer with all the guys that are missing from Washington. The offense should entirely flow through him. That said, foul trouble versus Embiid, always a risk. And Sarr does he's been really good at avoiding fouls this year, but he does chase after blocks. It could be trouble. Doesn't mean I would play the backup centers or anything, but I wouldn't go nuts on Sarr, even though I do think the offense will flow through him. But really for Washington, you're missing, your 3 highest usage guys, or 3 of them, besides Sarr. So all these guys, again, going to look a lot better. They're not priced for it right now. And the total against Philadelphia, not great, but Washington's been more spry lately than it seems. Philadelphia on their side, getting a little bit higher on Maxey, low on Embiid here. My projection is about 4 and change lower than Stokastic. So I might boost Embiid's rates a little bit. No reason why he shouldn't be able to obliterate Philadelphia if he really wanted to, or obliterate Washington rather if he really wanted to. Probably Philadelphia too. That said, for Tyrese Maxey, I'm getting him at 17%, Fields at 14. Low on Embiid, my data always is. He's 9,200 now, so I don't think I'm going to go crazy on him no matter what. But he does have 60 fantasy point upside again against a shitty team in Washington, and really bigs that he can get fouls on, I think, fairly easily if he really does well. Edgecombe playing well lately. He's been a monster closer lately. He's not going to win Clutch Player of the Year or anything. That stupid award. But he's been playing like it lately. 17% ownership for the field. I'm at 17. But you do have, Watford and Oubre coming back in. Even though they've been gone for so long, you'd expect a ton of minutes there. It's not great, especially with Stokastic projecting these guys for 35 plus minutes for Edgecombe. But Edgecombe's been good. I don't want to poo-poo him entirely. It just feels a little point chasey to keep going there. I'm doing it, though. Paul George, Fields at 20. I'm getting 19. Get no big stands here. Would like to get a little more Embiid, but Philadelphia mostly appropriately priced, and you can make the case maybe a little bit overpriced for getting a guy in Oubre back in who is generally, historically, pretty meaningful part of their rotation. Denver, we got no Jokic again, but we do have the core back here, so we can't get lucky with our boy Jalen Pickett again, which I would say one of the best plays that I've felt like I was on an island for the other slate the other day. He fucking went nuts in that game. He's really shooting lights out in that game. It only got him a little bit above league average at 60% true shooting now. But Jalen Pickett, I was really impressed with him. I've watched him play, think he can cook a little. Fuck, man, he won that game for him single-handedly, basically. For Denver today, though, really nobody stands out because they're all back in. Gordon at 7,100, unplayable at a minutes limit. Christian Brown, unplayable at a minutes limit, though he's at least 5,200. Jamal Murray, I think, still has a ceiling at 9,700, but as we've talked about enough times, he does play worse with Jokic off the court. I think I'm still giving him some respect here. I don't want to be totally out on him, but I'm getting 15 right now. The field's 10, and that's the only nugget I'm getting. Boston. 121 implied points. Jaylen Brown, big ceiling always. That usage holding steady at 36%. That said, getting him at 7% of lineups, fields at 6. Not a big stand there. Derek White, a little bit cheap at 8K, I guess. Getting him at 15.3% of lineups. The fields at a rounded up 15. Not a big stand there. Peyton Pritchard getting him at 11. Fields at 9. Boston looks okay. It's a good total here. Neemias Queta, not super crazy about, but he also projects well enough for me to play. Yeah, Boston, nothing exciting. We have a lot of teams today. So if you do get Cade out, if you get SGA out on top of that, you'll have players, teams that are missing like the most important players in the NBA. You're going to want to get to those teams more. That's always the rule of thumb in NBA DFS. But if you got a Jaylen Brown in a lineup, a Derek White, Peyton Pritchard in a lineup, these guys hit their ceiling around that chalk. I think that's where they make the most sense. Clippers, we can make up some time on because I got nothing here. 109.5 implied points. With Zubac, Harden in, Kawhi is unplayable at 10K. He's been great, though, lately. He's now up to 1.36 fan sports a minute. This is really the best version of Kawhi we have had in literal years. Harden's also been really good, producing 1.3. Clippers are going to get this shit right, which I know is going to upset some people. I don't know why they're trying to consider trading for Trae Young. I think that'd be an awful move for them. Even though defensively, they could cover for him a little bit more than others. But yeah, for the Clippers here, nothing. Knicks, also pretty much nothing. You got Josh Hart out still, Shamet still out. But these guys kind of appropriately priced for a down-paced matchup against the Clippers. Clippers, one of the lowest-paced teams in the league, about a 96 pace here. Defense still not good by the Clippers at 118 points given up per 100. But the Knicks just not really in a spot where I'd want to get there. They look like a worse version of Boston, where if you get here, tournament upside for sure. But projection-wise, they're just not really there. Pelicans here on their back-to-back. We got 118 implied points. Atlanta, 128.5. Really high total here. Trey Murphy is one of my highest exposed guys, getting him at 23%, fields at 13. He just won the slate yesterday. I did talk about him a little bit on Stokastic, maybe not so much on this show. But Trey Murphy, one of those guys where the price tag's holding steady. He's playing a ton of minutes. They can always hit a ceiling if you're playing 35 plus minutes and you are a reasonably good shooter. And Trey Murphy's more than that. And again, I said this literally on Stokastic yesterday. He should be on a better team. He should be, Warriors are desperate for somebody. He would make the Warriors so much better. He would hit open three after open three, can create his own shot a little bit. But right now he's in no man's land. But still playable if he does play. Derek Queen getting 25%, fields at 26. His minutes were pretty reliable yesterday, it seems. So getting back here with Stokastic at 28.4 minutes, not an issue. Jeremiah Fears should benefit as well from having Jose Alvarado out. I gave him a few extra minutes than probably Stokastic will at 27.5. But I tried to keep him and Poole flat. So really either guy might play more minutes today because having Alvarado out. And there is also a world where neither plays more minutes because sometimes they don't want to play either Poole or Fears. Herb Jones, the Q tag right now, fields at 20%. I don't really know why. You'll have better value that opens up, but it's a good total game. Herb Jones, 0.74 fan sports minute. Not ever really the guy for me, unless he just pops in and then whatever. Atlanta on their side, really high total to 128.5 implied points. They are theoretically rested here, getting a Pelicans team on a back-to-back that played a competitive game versus the Lakers yesterday. So for Atlanta in this spot, Jalen Johnson, 17% ownership for me in my top 150, fields at 10. I'm cool with that. Dyson Daniels getting 23, the fields at 8. Okongwu getting 10, fields at 3. Okongwu, of course, if he does play. If he doesn't play, it'll look infinitely better, I presume, for Mo Gay. Porzingis will still play his same 18, 20 minutes off the bench, I would assume. But Atlanta in this spot, incredibly high total, a little bit of a down-paced spot, but terrible defense against them, coming off a back-to-back. I think you want to get some Hawks tournament options as well. Orlando, 112 implied points. Brooklyn, 110.5. I've got nothing from Orlando here, so we get to skip over it. Banchero is so expensive for a guy who's producing under 1.2 fan sports a minute. I know he does occasionally hit that ceiling, but he's just not that guy. That's way too expensive, even against Brooklyn. He might hit that ceiling today, fine, but that price tag is stupid. They're playing him like the visions of Banchero's the number one pick as opposed to what he is right now, which is a guy that gets usage, misses a lot of shots. I don't know, man. I am not a big hero guy this year. I feel like he's been one of the biggest disappointments in the NBA from how I view stuff. Brooklyn on their side, a little bit of Michael Porter Jr. fields at 5. I'm getting 6. Nick Claxton back from his personal issues, fields at 10%. I'm getting 7. Cam Thomas in as well. He'll gun off the bench, not do a lot of special stuff besides that. Porter Jr. I think is a compelling tournament option. He's been good recently, even with Cam Thomas back in the lineup. Everything else here, not really in play to me. A little bit of Nick Claxton's fine. Utah, nothing here. They're full strength. They're facing OKC. Tough spot to love it. OKC has played down in competition lately, so if you use your biggest tournament brain, you go to Lowry Markkanen, go to Keyshawn George, go to Yusuf Nurkic, I guess, against a depleted center rotation for OKC. Maybe that pays off, but the total is here. It's a massive 18.5 points going against Utah. Not really the spot you want to get to them normally. OKC, but large field GPPs, do whatever. OKC, 130 implied points here. If SGA is out, this looks completely different as it is. AJ Mitchell looks like good value to me at 4,800. Jalen Williams willing to be there as well. Fields at 20%. I'm getting 17. But really, the SGA hammer is the big one. If he is out and we know it early enough, you will see a lot of chalky ownership coming to Jalen Williams, coming to AJ Mitchell, coming to Chet Holmgren. If you get SGA in, everything probably holds steady, and these guys might even come down because there's going to be better value that opens up. For you late slate people, here they are on the screen here. Wait, no, Memphis is actually... No, this game's on the slate. Never mind. Phoenix, Memphis, though, might as well not be on the slate. Really don't want much here. Devin Booker, not coming up often for me. 8,500. He certainly can hit a ceiling, but the projection's not really there. Again, Dillon Brooks scoring eerily close to him overall. Today, I would have Dillon Brooks at 23.5 points. Devin Booker at 24.1, which I know is aggressive, but like the per 100 numbers really do paint these guys as being a lot closer in points scored than you would ever think possible. But Dillon Brooks getting 15% in my lineups or so. Fields at 13. Mark Williams, I just don't really get there against a depleted Memphis rotation. On a back-to-back as well. I suppose he could get there. Jordan Goodwin has been great off the bench lately. Still not guaranteed to hit that ceiling that he has enough times, but getting him at 17%, Fields at 13. It's not a total dead team as Phoenix to me, but like, again, if they weren't on the slate, I just don't think it would matter. I think Cedric Coward got ruled out already, right? Yeah, Coward's out for his ankle sprain. Ja Morant's a Q tag, so that's the key one we're watching out for here. But Coward being out makes things look a little bit more appealing for these guys. Still not appealing enough with Ja Morant in. Jock Landale and Cam Spencer were a duo I had in some of my top lineups yesterday. Had one that made a run in the 100K tournament up top. Still only finished top 300, but it was nice to see because I didn't have a great slate in the 20 max, so getting one entry that at least had a shot was okay. But Cam Spencer, Jock Landale willing to go back there if we get Ja Morant out. With Ja Morant in, I think everything looks entirely unplayable here. So Memphis a dead team to me unless we get Ja Morant out, and we won't know that until the end of the slate. Late slate stuff. You guys can take a look here if you are playing the late slate. I'll just scroll through it really fast. Austin Reeves still out here. LeBron Q tag. If LeBron's out, Luka will look a lot better. And really, the Lakers will look like a much more playable team. San Antonio with Wemby in, not looking that great, but late slate, Fox Castle, you can take that shot on upside. Still would not play the minutes limited Wemby, even though he can kick a basketball in the bottom of a net. Houston on their side, a lot of ownership coming in here. Obviously, no Şengün still. Durant, you can chase that ceiling again. Amin Thompson, the usage is there every time. He just sucks, and he doesn't fucking hit shots when Şengün is out. But Amin Thompson at some point is going to break a slate with Şengün out. Jabari Smith getting closing minutes. He's playable. Tari Eason playable. These guys are not priced for life without Şengün on that late slate. Portland, Denny Avdia, you guys know I love. Shaedon Sharp, slows upside. Klingon's playing well lately. Kamara, not quite so crazy about. Caleb Love's the kind of guy I'll like when it's tanking season, and even Denny Avdia is not playing. But Portland, mostly an Avdia team for me. Milwaukee, you got Giannis. Ryan Rollins playing well again, back in that starting role, has seized more role back from Kevin Porter Jr. Kevin Porter Jr. just does not fit, in my opinion, with Giannis at all. His fantasy production comes from having full run of the castle here. Giannis taking rebounds away, taking possessions away. Kevin Porter Jr. not really able to get the same ceiling, but he's still pretty expensive at 8,300. Ryan Rollins at 6,900. I'd be willing to get there. The Golden State seem like they're kind of priced a little more appropriately today than usual. Steph Curry being cheaper, Jimmy Butler being cheaper. Some trade rumors floating around that Anthony Davis to the Warriors maybe get a little bit more hot. They would need to give up one of Butler and Green for that. So maybe one of those guys gets pulled at some point in the next few weeks. Maybe not today, though. But really, D'Anthony Melton as a value, late slate. That's that. All right, let's see if Stokastic updated. If they didn't, we'll run a sim and we'll call it a day. No updates for Stokastic. So we're just going to run a sim. Again, there's a lot of stuff that's not updated. The slate's going to look totally different, but you'll still get a good read on what top ROI lineups were in Stokastic data before they've updated. So we'll do the process here. And again, guys, no matter what's available, it's not available, I always make sure to update rotations for the show as best I can. I do the work really hard here, guys, and some days it is a pain in the ass. Today is one of them. So please join me by hitting that like button down below, subscribe down below. It really does go a long way for me here. Really, any creator you enjoy on YouTube, but especially people like me, I'm a mom and pop shop. You're competing against the Run Pures, the Ship Its, Stokastic to some extent, I guess. But I still show up and do the work, and I believe in what I'm doing here, and I know from you guys you get value out of this. So ultimately, we'll keep doing it, but support people like me if you can, and other things you enjoy too. But hit the like button, subscribe, because that's the only way we can keep doing the work here, fighting that YouTube algorithm. Of course, check out Stokastic too. When they update, you want to see their stuff, you're going to need to join down below. Use the promo code SPLASH. Get 15% off with that promo code. Click the link in the description. You can see all your options. And again, everything, cheap stuff, expensive stuff, even yearly packages with the avatar, it's all 15% off with that promo code SPLASH. So please do check that out. And of course, last but not least, join the channel here. $5 to join. Get into the live chat. You can ask whatever questions you want. If you want to drop your takes or whatever, I'm always happy to read them here on stream. But of course, you get into the Discord if you get that $5 tier. And if you want to get my data updated throughout the night, join the Squirt Squad tier. And if you want to really be an advanced player and use my projections exportable, join the VIP tier, but only if you know what you're doing and if you know how to use CSVs and all that. Are your top ROI lineups to 4? All these guys getting ruled out, so keep that in mind. AJ Mitchell, VJ Edgecombe, Aaron Wiggins. So Mitchell and Wiggins making it here with that matchup against Utah, even with SGA in the data set. So important to note, because you would assume that if you take SGA out, AJ Mitchell and Aaron Wiggins going to pop up exponentially more. Jalen Johnson, Paul Reed, Brandon Ingram, Derek Queen, Mark Williams. Nice balanced lineup. I'm not crazy about Mark Williams, but he certainly has a ceiling. Ingram on this slate too. Not really a priority play, but I think this is what happens. Again, the data has been updated since this morning. We didn't have all the value that's available now, or at least more of it opening up. But if I had to guess, when this does update, you're going to get more of that Wizards wing position flocking in a little bit more. Obviously, if you get Cade out, you're going to get Detroit everywhere. So just keep that in mind. Number 2, you got Derek White, Jordan Goodwin, Bilal Coulibaly. So he's popping in now, even with McCollum in the data set. Scotty Barnes, Paul Reed, AJ Mitchell, Derek Queen, Nikola Vucevic. Number 3, we have Jamal Murray, Jordan Goodwin, Dylan Brooks, Isaiah Stewart, Paul Reed, AJ Mitchell. Yet again, AJ Mitchell in our top 3 so far. Paul George, Nikola Vucevic. Number 4, Emmanuel Quickly, Brandon Ingram, Bilal Coulibaly again, Paul George, Paul Reed again, Jeremiah Fears, Derek Queen again, Nikola Vucevic again. And number 5, Derek White again, Kobe White, double Whites here. If it ain't white, it ain't right, says Stokastic. RJ Barrett, Paul George, Paul Reed, double Pauls. AJ Mitchell makes this one too. Derek Queen, Alexander Sarr. I'm surprised to see Stokastic be this in on AJ Mitchell. I don't know why they would be, because their projection's lower than mine. And SGA is in their data set because it's from, this morning. But he's a nice price tag, and going against Utah, it's a high total. So I think their data is making an assumption of just, it's a high total. You have a usage guard, and the guy's going to get minutes against Utah. That's sort of, I think, all it might be. Paul Reed right now, negative 4% ROI is technically your top ROI guy. Don't worry about the negative number. It's about the directional way this is pointing. And Paul Reed's your number 1 ROI player. Dylan Brooks at number 2, not Dylan Reed. He should marry Paul Reed if he wants to get better at basketball. But Dylan Brooks at number 2, VJ Edgecombe number 3, Alex Sarr tied with him, Quentin Grimes right behind them, Mark Williams right behind them, and AJ Mitchell and Kobe White, Paul George fractional decimal points behind in terms of ROI. It's Stokastic's top 150, which again is before Trae Young got ruled out, McCollum got ruled out, even Will Riley getting ruled out will impact this data pretty meaningfully. But Paul Reed was in 95% of Stokastic's top 150, Fields at 54. AJ Mitchell's in 55% of the top 150, Fields at 26. Gotta imagine that's going to come down a little bit. Unless we get SGA out, then it's going to skyrocket back up. Derek Queen, 45% exposure in Stokastic's top 150. The Fields at 26%. Paul George, 39% exposure. Fields at 18. That is a massive stand on Paul George. I got to think that goes away with there being better value. But Edgecombe, you're also getting in a third of the top 150 for Stokastic. Fields at 18. So they might just like the Philadelphia Wings at reasonable prices. And Paul George and Edgecombe, theoretically, are at reasonable prices. Is Fears too expensive to be popping? Seems like he's due for more time. Barely played second half. He's not due for more time because they don't really want to play him. So that's the tough part. It's a little bit harder to keep him off the court when Alvarado's not available, but they can find a way. That's sort of how I feel about that. But I like Fears. I mean, Fears is a little bit of everything. He's just like, he's not a winning basketball player right now. And I think the Pelicans have won enough games that Borrego's coaching for getting this job moving forward. So I think that for Fears, that's sort of the issue. But he can go off on a back-to-back, I think. But, doesn't mean you want to go crazy there. Highest leverage plays right now in Stokastic's data. Again, not updated here. Paul Reed, number one, 41% more in the field. He'll still be a good amount above the field, even with better, with more value opening up. AJ Mitchell, 28% leverage on the field here. Paul George, 21% leverage on the field. Derek Queen, also about 20. BJ Edgecombe, 15. Vucevic right behind that. Koulibaly right behind that. Relative leverage against the field. Devin Booker, negative 9% leverage. He's barely getting played, only 2% exposure. He just really hasn't been that great this year, and the other guards from Phoenix have been good enough that they take opportunity away from him. Brandon Miller, negative 8% leverage. Stokastic has you at 5%, Fields at 13. Again, he can definitely hit a ceiling, but, not always going to do it. Justin Champagnie here for Washington. This is going to come up because having no Will Riley, having no McCollum. But right now, Champagnie, negative 7% leverage in Stokastic's top 150. Duncan Robinson, negative 7% leverage. If you get Cade out, he'll probably come up enough here that this will look different. But with Cade in, Duncan Robinson, not really a play. And frankly, even if Cade's out, he's not really a play. Buzelis, negative 6% leverage. So you're fading him a little bit. You're only getting 15%. The field's at 20 and change. Not really a big fade there, but it is a fade. Terrence Mann, Colin Murray-Boyle's not too far behind. And I guess we have enough time to do this single lineup sim. It feels pointless because the data's going to move around so ridiculously. But let's do a single lineup build here. I'm going to try to build it with my updated data, and we'll see if we could find a lineup that has a passable ROI now, but will have a better one when things update. So let's try that. So point guard for me, Maxey, Murray, Dyson Daniels down the food chain. I'm going to go Dyson Daniels here. Trae Young is in the data set, so I don't know if this is going to sim well. We're going to try to build a good lineup that will look better when it updates. Trey Murphy right now to be my shooting guard. He is also a Q tag, so if he doesn't play, certainly that won't help. But I do like the price tag for him. Koulibaly would be my runaway small forward right now. He did look playable in Stokastic data without the updates, so hopefully this will not hurt the sim. Power forward. I think would be Derek Queen. I'm going to go Derek Queen here. Still a balanced approach. Paul Reed, definitely going to be the center here. Stokastic approves that, but I like Paul Reed a lot in general, so I have no issue going there, whether Stokastic approved it or not. Right now, we probably need to think about some value here. 19.5 left for 3 spots. Let me sort by value on my sheet. Let's see if we could try to jam in here. Probably more Wizards. Okay. Now, AJ Mitchell. Sim likes AJ Mitchell. I like AJ Mitchell. Will look infinitely better if SGA is out, as I've said enough times here. Really trying to drill it into your guys' head. Play AJ Mitchell if SGA is out. Forward, again, Champagnie, though the Stokastic sim will not like him because it has not updated for the Wizards being out. Jalen Johnson, I still like Jalen Johnson enough. Sim will like him less because of Trae Young being in the data set, but that's okay. And now 4,100 left. Ron Holland, Kobe Sanders. Ugh. Trenton Watford. Ugh. De Silva played pretty well yesterday. What's Champagnie at? Champagnie's not playable here. I might not be able to pull off Jalen Johnson. Let's go Champagnie here. He's got a 21.7 projection from Stokastic. That'll come up. Now we have 10-1 left for one more spot. We can play Kawhi, who's definitely overpriced. Jaylen Brown. Tyrese Maxey. We do like Tyrese Maxey. Let's go Maxey here. So this team, we're going to sim out, which again, trying to build a team that will still get a positive ROI now, but have a better ROI when Stokastic updates their data. Dyson Daniels, Trey Murphy, Bilal Koulibaly, Derek Queen, Paul Reed, AJ Mitchell, Justin Champagnie, Tyrese Maxey. So it won't take the kind of shitty value here. It probably doesn't like Dyson Daniels too much either. Oh, it hates Dyson Daniels. That's part of why too. I'll have it. Let's take out the 2 guys that the sim doesn't like. And you complete the lineup for me. It puts in Paul George and Jeremiah Fears. So for all our Fears supporters out there, Stokastic giving them to you. So this lineup, Fears, Murphy, Coulibaly, Queen, Reed, AJ Mitchell, Paul George, Maxey. There you go. 49% ROI. I do think when things update, that last lineup I had will sim better than this one. But a 49% ROI for the lineup, 0.2% win rate, 2% top 10 for Fears, Murphy, Coulibaly, Queen, Reed, AJ Mitchell, George, and Maxey. Again, guys, hope this video adds some value to you guys. It really is hard to do a video at 2 o'clock hour when a lot of shit's going to change, but we can only do the best we can. And that is my promise here, guys. I'm going to give you guys my splash plays today, but before I do that, please do hit that like button. Please subscribe. Again, I will show up and do the work as hard as I possibly can every day. That is a promise I make to you guys on this channel every time I show up, and I will keep doing it. I put the money hat on. The work really begins. So frankly, today, the work began at fucking 12 because I update for all this shit. But again, I do the best I can for you guys, showing you the NBA data, showing you my process. You can do whatever you want with it from there. But, hit the like button, subscribe. It does mean a lot for me on this channel. Join Stokastic too, 15% off promo code SPLASH, link down below. It's the only deal they have going right now. So you want to get 15% off any weekly package, any monthly package, any cheap package, any expensive package. I feel like Dr. Seuss. You get that 15% off the promo code SPLASH, and it does support the show because half the money you pay to them comes back to me, and that's really important to do if you want to see this channel continue on as it does. And last but not least, join the channel here. You want to be part of the live chat, get your 2 cents in, or if you want to be in the Discord chatting all day, some of the guys are doing in there across the NBA, across the NFL. Also, if you want to get my data updated throughout the night, check the Squirt Squad tiers down below. Though I do recommend you join from a desktop to save you more money as opposed to do it on iOS, because iOS does charge you extra vig if you sign up through there. Splash plays for the day. It's the value guys right now. I think it's Paul Reed. It's Bub Carrington. I think those guys are going to be good no matter what. Coulibaly will be good enough no matter what, even though I do think people will be on the scent pretty big from playing big minutes, even with McCollum and Will Riley playing. Washington wing value is a big part of this for me. AJ Mitchell, I think, is still a good value play no matter what. He will look infinitely better if SGA is out. I'll say that one more time. And if I'm going for a pay-up option, I really just want to kind of spread it around. I like Jalen Johnson still. I would say Dyson Daniels and Trey Murphy, also pretty good shot at being splash plays, but it's a lot, guys. This is my only stream of the day, too, so these are all the takes you're to get for me, but check out my data, updating throughout the night if you want to see where I'm going to be. If you ever curious who I'm going to be playing over some other guy, just check the projections. That's what I do. I make my data, so that's me getting unique, is me using my own data the way I'm supposed to. And this kind of slate, guys, actually, I made this graphic yesterday, so we'll just use it. This kind of slate, this one's for the sickos, guys. This is what Nano Banana gave me when I asked it to make a version of the Sickos meme with me and with the Splash Play logo on it. It apparently cannot do transparent PNGs. But this is a sicko kind of slate, guys. So enjoy it. Get your money in. $8 slate today on DraftKings, 100K up top. Play it. I hope it goes well for you guys. Gamble responsibly, guys, even though it is always money time here on this channel. Follow me at Chris Spags. Follow the channel at Splash Play Bets on YouTube, at Splash Play Pod on Twitter. I'll be back tomorrow at 2 p.m. again. Might have an NFL QB rookie preview coming up tomorrow, but I don't know if I'm all the way there yet, either both mentally and in terms of some of the stuff I want to show you guys with the AI coding. So maybe not tomorrow, but coming soon with that stuff on the NFL channel. There's a lot coming up here. So see you guys again soon. Enjoy your days. Good luck. Pay attention. Cade thing's really important. Think he's going to be out, but we'll see at lock time. SGA, really important. Pay attention to that. But I'll see you guys again soon. Enjoy your days. Good luck. Bye-bye. And I said the things.